We are recording this. We're also streaming it.
Okay.
Oh, we are streaming. I didn't know that. Look at this.
Onto my Facebook channel right now. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay. Well, then let's get started. So, kind of minimize here so I can see this. Well, a little bit about me, but before we get to that, this is what we're talking about. It's Make the Camera Love You. It's about turning your camera into your most trusted marketing, sales, and training tool. You know, it's about going from overlooked to overbooked. If you've ever said, if they only knew how much I could help them, you're in the right place. And when I hear somebody say that, when I see somebody like, oh gosh, I wish they knew, that's when I know these are my people. So we're going to actually take a look and identify how you start or look for a conversation or look for that phrase that says, oh, these are my people. So what we are going to be doing is, this is not the, we're having a, there we go. There we go. All right. Yes. Okay. So what I would like you to do right from the beginning, I want you to think about why you're here. What is it that you're really looking for? You know, because it's about taking our camera and turning it into a marketing, sales, and training tool. So right from the beginning, before I dive into it, decide what it is that you want to do. Are you looking for bigger clients? Are you looking to have podcast interviews, do your own Facebook Lives, maybe start your own online membership program? Because we have a vast variety of members. Each one of us has a business that's a little bit different. So different types of marketing tools apply. So maybe you just want to make a bigger impact and speak on stages, or if you're an author, maybe have a best-selling book. And the thing to actually keep in mind is that we're in the edutainment era. You know, we have to both educate and entertain. There are so many people out there with so much great information. Every time we do a search, we see a video, we click on it, we go to YouTube. We don't even like reading anymore. And if somebody is hard to understand or boring, like click away, because there's so much more information out there to get. So we love to be entertained. And the thing we want to keep in mind is that the difference between a marketing, sales, and a training video is the call to action. Everything is training right now. Everything is about sharing tips. Everything is about connecting heart to heart. And that's what this is really about. So I want to be able to right away earn your trust here. You're giving some precious time. And the content we're going to be sharing today is, here, let me go full screen, is connecting heart to heart. That's the first part we're going to be looking at. You know, identifying your why. That's the key to making a powerful connection with anybody that you're connecting with, whether in person or in video. So the next, we're going to talk about creating your message. That's going to be, it's TEDifying your message. I'll explain that in a minute when we get past to that section. But it's knowing what to say and how to say it to grab people's attention and have them wanting more. It all starts coming together. And finally, the part that's important for us also is turning on your camera charisma. You know, it's about looking polished, professional, but still have that connection, that intimate feeling that we want when we're connecting with people, so they get that we get them, you know, to have that connection. So that's what I'll be sharing. And so again, just to earn your trust here, that's just a little bit about me. And then our trainer, Ray, already shared that. But the part that's really important here, that's my late husband, Michael. Him and I, for over 20 years, we were training experts to be interviewed on network TV. He was a producer of 6 O'Clock News, Emmy award-winning video editor. So he had the technology behind him. And I have the storytelling, the content creation part of it. And together we would train experts to be interviewed on network TV. And so he passed away 5 years ago. So now I'm launching my own podcast and still love training people. And that's what this is about. So I'm super excited about Pitch and what we can do together. So, and how we did that before, it was with access to experts. That's what we trained people so they would have the reels to get on network TV. And just to go back here, our clients were on, on all different networks. This is just one example. So the reason I'm sharing this is because the information we're sharing here is top notch. It's simple. It's about you. It's authentic. You don't need anything fancy. You just need to be you. And that's the beauty of it, because nowadays we don't like that super polished look anyways. Okay. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready, because we're going to dive right into the training. So again, we're going to start with connecting heart to heart. That's the first part. Your why is the key to actually creating a message that's going to get you in front of a person and make them feel like you are there for them, which we are. We're supposed to be. We're supposed to get in front of people we can make a difference for. And so with that, I'm going to go full screen here. My mouse is acting a little wonky today, but we're just going to go through it. So what we're going to focus on, the very first thing we want to decide is your why. And there are several different ways you're going to be, putting your stories together. The very first one is, why do you do what you do? That's what we're focused on today. However, there are other whys you need to put together. Why do you sell that product? Why did you create that program? Why are you excited about pitch? Why have you already written, or if you're going to be writing your book, why are you doing it? And again, since we're on pitch, it's about you kind of putting together the story for that as well. But that's not what we're going to be focusing on right now to make everybody, align. We're going to be focusing on, why do you do what you do? And that aspect of it, it's a combination of three things, what I call the unique influencer code. So the very first part of it is your expertise, whatever your expertise may be. And the second part of it is the reason you do what you do. And it's always connected to a life experience of sorts. So if you think back, when you chose to do what you do, or even you can even make this bigger, when you look back to different businesses you had, different jobs you had, different things you've done, there is always a life experience tied to it. There is a reason why we choose to do the things we do. And so for today, we're going to focus on why you do what you do now. Okay. So choose your expertise, whatever it is, just jot it down and think about a life experience to keep it simple, really make it easy here is like, I'll give you an example. If we talk to nurses, like 9 out of 10 of them are going to tell you they had a family member who was ill. And they really loved the care that was shown and the way they just made them feel, the power they had to make somebody feel better. Now, that's for a nurse. That's a different mindset. If you talk to doctors, it's a whole different mindset, right? We're not talking about that. So every profession has a unique connection to a life experience. So what is your life experience? Why do you do what you do? So jot that down. If you have a couple of different reasons, a couple of different memories, jot that down too, because we're going to be able to weed through it. Now, to do the unique influencer code properly, there is a third component, which I'm going to tell you about, but we're not going to have time to dive into it. So the third component is our natural gifts. And this is that fire in the belly that keeps us doing what we do. Now, here's the thing. Your life experience and your expertise together are designed to connect you to the people you're serving, so they understand why you're passionate about what you do. But to keep yourself going, I mean, this is the thing, but you can't help but do. And we want to actually integrate, and let me go full screen here. You want to actually integrate that aspect of it. So, we have artistic gifts, physical, cognitive, intuitive. We're not going to dive into it today. Like I said, it takes more than that. But I wanted you to know the reason for it, because when we bring in the passion that we have for something and integrate it with what we do, then we're on fire. Our natural gifts, I believe we're here to do what it is that we love to do, and that's supposed to sustain us. A lot of us get sidetracked. We take a test, it tells us, maybe a CPA, I think, is out there, who is just really true artist, and somehow they get sidetracked. We all do that. But anyways, that's the first part of it. So that's the beginning before we even start the story. So what's your expertise? And a life experience that tied to expertise, because it's going to be part of your story. Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at is TEDifying your story. This is about knowing how to say what you say, and then, so you're able to connect with people and have them wanting more, like want to hear more from you, right? And so let me explain to you the TEDx part of it. I am not a TED Talk trainer. However, when I was working with one of the top TED Talk trainers out of Europe, actually, she trains the politicians there. And when I shared with her the formula that we use to train experts to be interviewed on TV, she was like, Ann, that's a TED Talk, and you're doing it in 3 minutes. Do you know how hard it is? I was like, well, I had an idea, but I didn't know it had anything to do with TED Talk. So I can say TEDx style stories. Now, the power of this is, well, I expect have watched a few TED Talks, right? There's something about them. They grab our attention. They take us on an emotional journey. We're experiencing it with them. What is it about TED Talks that does that? Well, I'm going to share that with you. The first thing that, every impactful story is to grab their attention, the hook to grab their attention. Now, right now would be a good time for you to jot down a couple of things. What you want to do is start with a question that the prospect you're connecting to, or the people you're teaching, whatever the reason for your video is, what's on their mind? What are they thinking at that moment? So it could be, have you been thinking, all I ever do is work and I'm still broke? Well, here's how you're going to be able to learn to manage your money better. Or, somebody in, say, a chiropractor, let's say, would be, have you been thinking, every morning you get up, I'm just tired. I'm sick and tired of waking up in pain. There's got to be a better way. So when you ask a question, the brain has to answer. It's just a knee-jerk reaction, right? Well, a brain reaction. So anyways, this question is a really good one. That's not the only kind of hook, but we're not going to dive deep into the hooks either. But I want to give you an example. So start with a question, because it's the most impactful one, the most powerful one to engage people. So think about it. Who is it that you're talking to? Who is it? And what are they thinking? What do they want most? Okay. So jot down a couple of questions, or jot down the things that they might be thinking about, and then we're going to turn it into a question. Okay, so the next part, the story, build their trust in you. Okay. Now, this is what we're going to be doing a deep dive in together today, the story component. So it's about sharing the experience of finding the solution, okay? Then there is the call to action. Yeah, we're not going to be diving deep into the call to action either, because we're going to be focusing on the story. But the call to action is you give them the next indicated step. You give them direction. At the end of your presentation, if you're teaching, well, try this, or jot down this. Choose between this and that. Do this and then do that. You're giving them the next indicated step. Now, again, depending whether it's a marketing tool, whether it's a sales tool, or it's a training tool, all of these are videos. The call to action is going to be the next indicated step. Okay, so this is the overview of what we are dealing with, what we're working on today. But the one we're really going to be diving into, like I said, is the story component. So here we go. The 3 elements of dynamic stories. It really doesn't matter, whether it's a story, a book, a movie, they all have these 3 components. The camera, the characters, and that's the who was there. And the setting is where it was, and the plot, what it was, the story itself. So here we go. All right. Now, think about the story that you want to share. Okay, think about the story you want to share today. It's got to be a simple story, something really simple. This is just for you to actually understand the framework. Okay, once you have it, you can apply it to everything. I don't care if it's just a 1-minute video or a 1-hour conversation. It doesn't make a difference what it is, or a full day presentation. The framework is the same. Okay, so the most important thing to do is once you go back and maybe close your eyes and think about the story you want to share. Remember, this is why do you do what you do? So what is that memory that actually is connected to your expertise? Dive in there and start feeling your emotions. What were you thinking? The reason it's important is because as you are writing the story, you want to name your emotions. Okay, so here we go. Think about it. Okay, I was so angry. Now I'm saying angry, you don't even know what I was angry about, but you know what anger is like. So when I say I was angry, you know what it feels like. Or I was afraid, I was so worried. And I'm so happy to get that news. And then, oh my God, it was so sad. And I'm so excited to hear that. So excited to do that. And I was so proud when I received that award. I was just so proud of my child, nervous. Oh my God, how is this going to work out? I was just so nervous. Confused. I had no clue what to do. I was just so confused and frustrated. Oh my God. And no matter what I did, I just couldn't get it right. I was just so frustrated. So you can see, I didn't even give you a story behind it, but just saying the words and then feeling the emotions and then emphasizing the emotion took you somewhere with me. You don't even know what the full story is, but you know the emotion. There are only so many emotions. So when we name the emotion, people are already connecting. Very powerful. And also when you connect with the emotion, you're going back and you are in there. You are getting fired up. You're also getting excited about the story. So it's really important to do that. Now, the next thing is we're going to start. As you're thinking about the story, you haven't really started writing it yet. You're thinking about the story, you're going back, and the first thing we're going to think about is the characters. Who? Describe those involved in your story so the listener can see them and feel like they know them. They can see them in their mind's eye. And some of the things that are important, it's just the simple stuff. If it's you, and by the way, describe only if it's relevant. You can keep this really simple. If it's you, it's an old story as a child. Well, how old were you? Well, how did you look? Okay. What did you look like? What were you wearing? If it's important, it's just something about you. If it's right now, what's going on right now, then it's going to be a lot easier, to say I was wearing this and people can automatically, see it in their mind's eye. Now, the other thing that's really important are the people involved in the creation and the solution of the problem. Okay. Every problem we have, somebody was there causing a problem, and then, or somebody was there helping us with the solution. So you also want to jot down who are they? How are they related to you? If it's a family member, if it's a doctor, if it's whatever, your teacher, your friend, your partner. And, how are they related to you? And how did they look or act? And this one could be, it was a tall, thin man or short, thin man, whatever. So just describe what they look. What were they wearing? They're wearing a cap, wearing a raincoat. Okay. So whatever it is that you're thinking about, visualize the person that's there, right? Jot down. Again, you're still not really writing the story. You're just jotting down the people, the name and how they looked, if it's relevant. And don't overcomplicate this. Use just a couple of simple things, because most of it you're not going to be using. But just jot down as things come up, right? So the next part of it is this. Here we go. Let's go full screen again. Now, the setting. Where was this? So in this case, you want to describe the environment so the listener, the viewer, can see and feel themselves there with you in that environment. So what does that look like? Well, here's some things you want to think about. What was the weather like? Was it a hot summer day or a cold winter night? If it's relevant, again. And where were you? Were you at home, at work, in a park, hospital, in a car? Where were you? Where was this story being played out? And then the senses. You want to engage the senses, right? They're very important. Sight, what could you see? If it was a hot summer day in a park, you could see trees, you could see people walking, maybe a fight broke out. What could you see? The green trees, purple flowers, whatever, right? And sound, what could you hear? The birds, people laughing, police sirens, just noisy city noise. What could you hear? Where were you? Maybe nothing at all. Maybe you were at home and you could, listen to the gardener outside mowing the lawn. Whatever it was, just jot down some kind of a sound. And smell. Smell is so important. It really triggers a lot in us. The good smell and a bad smell. So hot pizza, rotten food, fresh cut grass. You guys, when I mention these, you can hear them, you can actually see them in your mind's eye, you can smell them. Okay, now this is before you even write the story. You're just jotting down a couple of notes, okay? Not complicated, but very powerful for several reasons. One, you're going back in time and you're remembering something. So your emotions are coming up. Your passion is coming up. Remember, this is part of the reason why you do what you do. So you want to bring up the passion because we connect with people who are passionate about what they do. Okay, really important. So now we're going to come to the story, right? And this isn't that complicated either. Remember, we're making this really short. We want to, in 3 minutes, like if you're being interviewed or if you're interviewing somebody, you want to leave space for the host to interact with you or for you to be able to share something and stop and ask questions or make a point. So you want to give space. So everything you're sharing, the original story, which starts why you do what you do, because everybody's going to ask you that. And then once you share that, you're going to get a comment coming from the host. And then you go on to the next story. So why did you create that product? Why did you sign up for Pitch? What's so amazing about Pitch, right? You want to write that. Why are you excited from your perspective? If you're an investor or if you're a content creator like I am, I'm very excited about the possibilities of what we can do. The AI tools are amazing. So we all have our reasons, right? So how do we bring that into our story? That's what I'm talking about. So go back in time, bring up your passion. Now we're just going to make it really simple for the storytelling time. All right, here we go. So the story also has a couple of, well, actually three different ones. Problem. What was the problem? Why did you decide to create this program or product or choose that, whatever you're doing? Why are you sharing this? What was the problem? Real simple. If we're going to be applying it to pitch, it's like, for me, all the online platforms were kind of wonky, and AI is here, and this was amazing. I could actually use AI within pitch, instead of going to all these different platforms or using all these different AI tools. So I'm just being very broad here, but whatever your reason is, what's the problem? Why did you decide? So the next is the solution. How did you find the solution? Describe the moment you found the solution. Now, if we're talking about pitch, I seem to be coming back to pitch. I guess that's what we should be doing, right? I always go with the flow. Whatever comes up, I go with it. And so with this, the solution, for me, it was, I was looking for solutions. There's so many different platforms broadcasting. And actually, I met Ray on another platform, networking platform, and he set up a meeting and he showed. I was like, wow, I can have that. And next thing I know, I'm on a call with Steve and I'm totally blown away. Yeah. So the excitement, I was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this, right? So thank you. Now, that's the part. What did you do? How did you find a solution? What were you feeling? What was the excitement? Think about any product. If we have some kind of an ailment, we're always looking for the solution. Oh, thank God I found this doctor. Whatever the solution is, there's that moment like, oh, I got it. You want to describe that. Okay. You want to describe that because that's the feeling other people are looking for. And when you describe it, they're like, yes, he gets me. She gets me. We're speaking the same language. Okay. Then we're going into, here's the other part, the results. What were the results that you got? Simple, to the point. If there's any kind of numbers involved, you can do that. If there's time frame involved, in 3 months, we were able to do this. In 2 months, I was feeling so good. In 30 days, whatever it is, in 2 weeks, whatever it may be, you want to be able to give a time frame and share the results you got, and what are the results others are getting. Once we share with somebody else, what, I did this and I shared it with my sister and she is feeling much better. Okay. Whatever it is that happened for you. And then when you share with other people, what is it? So that's basically a story that people can actually connect with you. And if you use what I shared with you, name your emotions and describe the characters, how they looked, and the environment where you were, then talk about how you found it. What were you thinking and feeling? That's the anatomy of every powerful story. Every powerful story. Again, whether it's a book, a movie, it doesn't really matter. A story shared is, emotionally connects. We take people on an emotional journey with us. Okay. So, at the beginning of this, I said, I said, if you've ever said, if they only knew how much I could help them, you're in the right place. Well, that happens to be my cue, right? If they only knew how much I could help them. I will tell you like a quick little thing. I moved to America at the age of 13. I couldn't speak a word of English. I went from the cool kid that was then turned into the kid that was getting bullied. And there were this group of 4 gorgeous, this is in junior high school, teenagers that everybody in school adored, but they were actually mean. And I would see them walking down the hall. I was like, oh my God. And the reason I was struggling at that point, because I couldn't speak a word of English. So when they would pick on me because I looked different, and they thought I was dumb because I couldn't speak English. And I was so frustrated because I was far from dumb. I knew it, but I didn't have the words. And still today, just I can still feel it. Just felt like I had like a gag in my mouth, and that was such a horrible feeling. But I will tell you this, within a year, I was fluent in English, but I still remember that feeling. So over the years, when I started speaking with different people, and when I started doing the media training, and the people that I would attract were the people with a lot of passion. They wanted to make a difference. And then I would hear them, and if they only knew how good this product is, if they only knew. So my attitude is, let's go tell them. Let's get everybody to know how good it is. And that's my passion. That's why I do what I do, because I know that feeling of not having the words. And just a frustration. So now I just gave you a little bit of a like insight into why it was like a really short version of it, because honestly, media training, especially as much content as I'm sharing here, it's not usually done in an hour. Okay. So we're doing a fast media training version of this, if you will, right? But I do want to share something else with you. Turning on your charisma, your camera charisma. If your story is really dynamic, but when you get on camera, you're not really connecting, it's going to lose its power. And I can't tell you how often we would, get somebody who's amazing, passionate about what they're doing. As soon as the camera comes on, they get fidgety. They're so focused on how they look, how they sound, or they don't even know how to look at the camera. And to get distracted. So I want to give you some tips on how to really bring it home, how to get your story across. So with that, here we go, full screen again. There we go. To be camera ready, okay, there are some things you need to know. First, the appearance, how you look. Hair, makeup, wardrobe needs to be on point. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, you don't have to go super fancy. It's about you being yourself. Like we see commercials with doctors and a stethoscope. Well, they know with a patient. They do not need a stethoscope. But when we see the white coat and the stethoscope, it already tells us, hey, that's a doctor. Same thing, again, with nurses. Or just think about it. If we were to look at a plumber, we wouldn't expect them to be dressed in a three-piece suit. If they came to you, three-piece suit, that's not a plumber. Who are you, right? So dress the part that would most represent who you are to your ideal client, to build trust. Make them feel comfortable in your ability, okay? So that's the first one. Look the part. So next is your vocal quality. Who you are is good enough. Your voice, the way it is good enough. Your accent, the way it is, it's good enough. It's about you being natural, okay? So speak in your natural tone. I mean, think about some of the experts that are out there, and they don't sound so good. But after a while, it stands out. How they sound, it makes us recognize them. Even if we can't see them, we know who that person is, right? And so just make it smooth pacing, like you interact like you're talking with a friend, somebody who's sitting across from you. How would you be talking with them, right? Very important. And the body language, really, really important. Engaging facial expressions, right? When you're happy, let your face show it. Where's that song? If you're happy and anyways, I'm not going to go break into a song. You don't want me to do that, trust me. And facial expressions and confident gestures. Let people see your hands. It usually builds trust, but not so much like this, because it's distracting. A lot of people, they talk with their hands, not so good. But it's okay once in a while for your hands to show. It builds trust. I'm not going to go deep into it. But for the most part, you want to have head and shoulders showing. Okay. So it's not just, don't get too close, because the camera distance makes a big difference. If somebody's like in your face, that's not very comfortable. You want to have the same distance, that comfortable distance when we're talking with somebody, right? So body language, how you show up on camera, the framing is really important. So next, this is really important, okay? We want to get out of your head and get into your heart. You need to learn to love the camera. Your camera is your audience. When you're looking into the camera, you're looking into the eyes of the person you are helping, okay? And the thing to keep in mind is that it's always a one-on-one conversation. I don't care if 1,000 people are watching it. Even if you're in a live room, let's say in a live seminar, there's a speaker, maybe 100 people in the room, but each one is having their own unique connection with the information that's being shared. So remember, it's always a one-on-one conversation. So when you're sharing your information, keep in mind who it is that you really want to serve. Who is this message really for? And stay in that essence of it, okay? Because what's going to happen, you're going to stay connected emotionally to why you're sharing, and also it's going to get across to the people who are watching. So it's always a one-on-one connection, always. Okay, one more, and then, oh, here we go, important. Let's go here. Ground yourself. Take a deep breath to calm your nerves and be present in the moment. Anytime you're getting on camera, be present. There's nothing else that's going on that's more important than what you are sharing right now. Be present. Focus on the people that you're helping, okay? Empathize, okay? Now, you need to get into the mindset of the person who's watching. You're speaking to someone who needs you. They need your help. Let this guide your tone and how you approach the conversation and how you share your story. This is where the heart-to-heart connection will come, because they can feel that you understand where they are. More than anything else, be authentic and vulnerable. Vulnerability builds trust, okay? You need to feel your emotions. You really need to feel your emotions. That's why at the beginning of the story, it was name your emotions. When you're in that space, you're feeling your emotions as you're sharing your story, and let your emotions guide, your words and your expressions. And, you don't have to say the same thing every time. You don't have to be polished. Every time you share the story, it's going to be just a little bit different depending on who's listening. And slow down, especially when it's something important, okay? You want to give them enough space where your words are landing. Give them enough space for the emotions to connect with them, the emotions that you're sharing within the story, okay? Now, the other thing that I do want to share with you quickly with the camera is, well, let's see what we're doing, how we're doing with the time here. Oh, well, I think I better go ahead and share this now. Okay, so super important, super important. A lot of people are using the cameras on their laptops. There are a few things that are happening. First and foremost, regardless of how good your laptop is, you do not get to control the image. You do not get to control the tone, the colors and things, the focus and all that. So an external camera is really important. And this is all simple stuff. For a couple of $100, you can be set up really, really well. So let me just show you what it is. Okay, first, Logitech cameras, very easily. They're anywhere from $60 to $200, whatever it is. They can sit on top of your laptop, easy, or you can even put it on a stand in front of your laptop. And I will share with you in a minute what I use. And also, don't just get one light. You want to have two different lights sitting at 45-degree angle, because if you have a light just in front of you, directly in front of you, it actually flattens your face, and it makes the nose shine a little bit too much and the forehead shine a little bit too much. You want to bring definition. And, professionals, there is the key light and there's the fill light. Don't worry about the names, but one is a little bit brighter than the other, and that gives your face the definition, okay? It just looks more natural. And of course, one of the things that you do want to get is a mic. Okay. Again, there are a lot of great mics out there. I don't even have to give you names for it, but like $30, $40, $50. So now, backdrop, super important. Now, I use green screen because I've always used green screen. I've been using this for a long time. But nowadays, we actually have the option of not using a green screen. But be careful with that. You don't have to use it, but you want to have a solid backdrop. And if you are sitting in a chair where there is a headrest, you want to make sure the headrest is the same color. So if you're sitting in front of a white wall, put something white on your headrest, because what happens is when it's deleting the background, it's actually blending everything. And that's when you see people's heads, hair coming in and out, and hands disappearing. So if you do this, again, a couple $100, you're going to be looking professional. And it's just, everything looks so much better. So much better. It doesn't even cost that much. Now, because everybody always asks me, this is the camera that I use because I like to have it in front of my monitor. It's the Logitech BCC 950, and it just stands right in front of it. You can see, and it just happens to be my favorite. Doesn't have to be yours, but this is kind of what you can do easily, quickly, and it'll make a world of a difference in how you come across on camera and how you feel. And one very, very important thing, look at the camera lens itself. And the reason I like having the camera in front of my monitor is because when I am talking with somebody, I will literally grab and put their frame next to the camera so I can see them and look at the camera at the same time, because it looks like I'm looking at them in their eyes. And we do like to see the whites of people's eyes, as they say, right? Most of the time, they're looking down because they're looking at the person they're talking to, but they're not looking at the camera. So this is a cool little trick that will make you more connected with the people that you are connecting with, and making that connection. Like when we're in person, somebody looks behind us, we're like, what are you looking at? What are they looking at? What are you looking at? Right. And there is a disconnect. So you want to keep that connection. And the thing to keep in mind is the camera really is the most intimate we can get, without being in the same room with people. So the same rules apply. The distance you want to keep from the camera, looking into the eyes of the person you're talking to, and watch your tone, watch your body language, be happy, smile. That's it, guys. This is not rocket science. You already know how to do all this. I'm just giving you the frame to put it all in. So with that, I think I did want to kind of see if we could go into breakout rooms, but why don't we do this? Ray, let's get back, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. We can actually take a 10-minute breakout room. Or 6 minutes even. We have 10 minutes to go. It's up to you. What would you like to do, Ray?
I think, we can do whatever you want to do. We have a small group here, so if you think we really need to go into breakout rooms, we can. Otherwise, we can just do what you're wanting us to do.
Well, we can do like a laser coaching, and with somebody, use as an example. What do you think?
Sure.
Now, does anybody have their story you want to kind of run by and see what we can do?
Which story you want to list here? What kind of story?
Say that again, Lenny.
What kind of story you want to hear? Because I have 1 million story.
Well, why do you do what you do?
Okay, I can tell you. Ready?
Okay, so start with grabbing my attention. So tell me.
I'm in United States 33 years. About 25 years, I go to Dominican Republic on all-inclusive, 2 times per year. Usually I spend $7 grand per year for my vacation. and with me go 3-4 couples. I estimated the amount of money we spend. It's about 350 grand for all these years. Now I become travel agent because when I look back how much commission I can do even on my own, I was surprised why I was not thinking about this 25 years ago. So, but people say, okay, Lenny, time is past. You cannot go back and get this money. Yeah, but I'm still alive and I still want to travel. So I become a travel agent not to make this mistake in the future. I want to make money on my own travel. This is my story.
Okay.
Good
So,
job.
yeah, so way to go. And it makes a lot of sense because we all travel. So what you may want to do is start off to grab our attention, say, well, how often do you go on vacation? How much money do you spend, when you're going on vacation? What if you could actually get paid to go on a vacation? It's like, what? Okay. So that might be a good question to start.
Usually, you want to hear my question?
Yes.
Okay. How you book your travel in these days? You go online and find some places and book it, right?
Okay.
Right? And
that's your question. Okay. So, well, the question, actually, this is a perfect example. The question that you ask needs to be designed to get the attention of the person you're looking to attract. So asking the question, where you go online to book your vacation, is that,
no,
it's
how
the
you
average.
book your vacation? How you book your vacation? This is the question.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Oh, depends if it's a business. Well, I go online and I do a search.
Yes, 95% people say I go online, I don't need travel agent. Good. I have a very good news for you. You go, you see review, you find something, you spend your time, finally you click, and Expedia get paid. So I call people like you unpaid travel agents.
Okay.
Now I tell you how to become paid travel agents. Are you interested?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's it.
That's it. No, it's actually pretty good. I would work on it a little bit to complete the story, but we don't really have time to complete the whole story right now because we do want to be on time, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you for doing that. Does anybody have a question on what's been shared so far? Question, comment, anything?
Well, I found this very beneficial in getting some of the things that was going through my head already. Like with my lighting isn't real good, but that's just the way it is right now. But different things because you want to look at the person on the screen, but that doesn't make sense because you're not looking at them, you're looking down. And that was something that, I was going back and forth in my head, and that was really good. And then I like the story thing, and I got to work on that because I know what the story is, but I got to figure out how to get the questions in there. And there's going to be different questions, like you said, when you're talking to different people.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
There's some really provocative thoughts there, and some things I need to look into and dive into deeply and get figured out. So I'm probably going to wake up in the middle of the night and have something I got to write down.
Well, then I have achieved my purpose here. That's the whole thing. This is not rocket science. It's about you getting in touch with your story, seriously. Yeah. And so for those of you who are actually interested, this is honestly, people work on this for years. Okay. What we're doing here in 1 hour, it's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
But I've been training this for a while, so I found some shortcuts. However, having said that, it still takes more than an hour. So you guys, if you go back and watch the recording and go through, create a story, follow one story through your, why you do what you do. And then why do you serve that product, or why did you create that service? Create different stories about it, because as you're getting interviewed, if you're sharing your story, you want to start with why you do what you do, and then scoot over to, why have you chosen this product? What's so special about it? Everything has the hook, the story, and a call to action. Just like I was kind of weaving in there, how I met Ray, and I was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this, so it's just a simple formula that you can use in everything. And believe me, when you're having conversations one-on-one, not related to business, people will want to hear you more often, because when you're in touch with your emotions, you bring it out of, they don't even know what it is, but they feel it too. So way to go. But actually, if anybody is interested, Ray and I were talking about doing a one-day training, what I call impactful interviews. And the reason for that is I'm actually launching my own podcast called Happy, Joyful, and Free. And we're looking for guest experts in business growth and marketing, health and wellness, money management, empowerment and spirituality. Well, let's not forget relationships and communication. So if you're an expert and you would like to be interviewed, I'm looking for guest experts, and we're doing a training. As a matter of fact, I can put the link. Just fill out the form, and I'll get in touch with you, letting you know when it is. And by the way, it's like super, super inexpensive. So this is not a high-end thing here, because I'm actually looking for people within Pitch, because I know we're going to be using the platform, and it's dynamic. And I'm really excited about using the AI component with the videos we're doing. How do we integrate it? I'm on fire with it. And so, yeah. If anybody's interested, let me know, and I'm happy to put the link in there. You can just give me your name and email for me to get in touch with you, letting you share the information.
And
yes.
Can you go ahead and just put that link in the chat for everybody?
Yes, let me grab it. And let's see.
Yeah, guys. First off, I'll start off with you. You really sucked me in here. I'm always worried about my story and how well I'm communicating with people, and do I underdo it. So I really enjoyed all that you gave us there on adding emotions, building the characters that were in the scene, the setting, and the senses. You drew me in with all of that, and I was going back to the very first day that I found out about Pitch, and just trying to think in my mind, how do I communicate that? So that's really, for me, it's going to be a day to mark in history as this company grows and plays out. So.
I can't wait to work with you on that, Ray, because I mean, yes, I definitely, you and I are going to work on that together. Let me.
By the way, I have a note here from you from Steve before he had to go to a dinner meeting.
Yes.
He said, I really like how she goes to full screen to small screen on the presentation. He said he's never seen that before. So you impressed him with the way that you've been able to do that too. Impressed me when you first showed me that too.
Well, actually, I will share with you. I'm using a free software. I'm happy to teach you how to use it. It's open source software. Of course, there are paid ones too. But yeah, that's nice to hear. Yeah. It's funny how some of the most simple things actually have the biggest impact. I keep looking down because I'm grabbing the link. Hold on. This is being totally off the cuff here, guys. And yeah, okay, here we go. Let me get this.
So, if you know anybody that would like to be polished, or you have any referrals, pass those back along to me or back to Ann, so that she's able to help some of those folks also.
Yeah, I just put the link in there. And those of you who are interested, just reach out. All you have to do is put your basically name and email in there, and I'll reach out to you and just to let you know what it is. And yeah. There you go. You working that magic there, huh?
I was
Hey,
going to see if I could put it in there, but it's I don't see a way right now to change the URL
Okay.
from what I started it at.
Yeah. Well, it's in the link, you guys. There are only a few of us. So if anybody actually, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, I'm happy to answer, or just yeah. Oh, you're a quiet bunch. Okay.
Okay. I've copied the link that was in the chat there. I'm going to paste it in my notes so that I have that to share with other people as well. So there we go. Okay. Well, great job, Ann. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Yes, thank you.
From your heart and teaching us something that is very useful for
You're
us.
so welcome. Thank you for the invitation, Ray. Thank you for setting it up, and I'm just happy to be part of the community, and working together we can do some amazing things. Each one of us does our part. Yeah. Ron, actually, I want to speak with you because I love the way you were explaining, how you decide the 4-point criteria. I want to actually turn that into something I can use. So I'm going to reach out to you.
Please
if it's
do.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to speaking with you, man. And I'm a little bit subdued tonight because I'm really tired. I've been up for a long, long time already today. So, is my mic on?
Yes, we're hearing you great.
Okay.
You're on.
So I've enjoyed it. I've just been subdued because I've been really tired this evening. So.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the green light to reach out. I will do.
Yeah, absolutely. Look